Hey friends. I I've been reflecting on something, or maybe it's better to say I've been experiencing something over the past couple of past week or so, I'd say, and it's something that I'm pretty familiar with, but it's I've gotten like another dose of it recently, and what I'm talking about is a sense. So I there there's a way in which some of the work I do involves representing a group of people. In some ways, it's a leadership role. In other ways, it's a listening role. And I mean, I suppose listening is part of leadership, but I definitely feel like I go like this particular role is a question of, as maybe all leadership is. It's a question of being willing to take the initiative, having the courage to take the initiative, and also having the willingness and the courage and the patience to to follow, to listen long enough to follow. And when I'm doing it right, or when I'm doing it in the way that feels right, there's something that happens as I move with the group. A group of people, any group of people, is likely to contain a multitude of perspectives. Group gets large enough, and the sort of spread of diverse opinions gets wide enough, and you are suddenly dealing with a group of people who very well may not agree on everything, and actually may have particular points of friction or points of opposition. And to represent all of them, you really have to be prepared to receive what's coming at you and take it in with a sense of empathy and a sense of, this is this person's truth. And what I find is, people can share wildly different opinions about things, really quite divergent patterns of thought, directions of thought. And all of them are speaking from a deeply true place. They're speaking from a place of authenticity. I mean, they can be. They're not always, but wildly divergent opinions can come from a deeply authentic place in a lot of in different people. And so there's this kind of constant, and so then if I'm in this case representing them, or tasked with being the sort of hub of their input on a given topic, then I have to really be prepared to take in what they're bringing, receive it as authentic, and I almost in each moment, this causes me to kind of resonate with it, right? Even if my opinion is nothing like theirs, for I am momentarily invited into their perspective, and I get a little bit of like something I talk about, where John Vervaeke talks about this too. He talks about, you start to see through another person's eyes into the world. You can do this with authors too, or anybody. You can do this with anybody you study deeply and really get in touch with what they think. You can begin to see through through the lens of their worldview. And I find this happening sort of in a moment. I find this happening very quickly to me. I can get inside someone's perspective, even if it's a perspective that either I don't necessarily agree with, or a perspective that I've never even thought of. right? Like somebody might be sharing something about what they think, and it might be something I just haven't even ever touched on that idea in my own thinking. So, and when that so then as that happens again and again and again, and as I sit with the task of creating not necessarily a composite, but a kind of picture of the group, and then have to look at like, well, okay, well, what does that amount to as if we were going to take steps forward? What I find is my perspective at that point becomes vastly more intelligent than it would be if it were just me thinking this through on my own. Like, there's so much more, like, I become more intelligent. In some ways, I begin to benefit from collective intelligence. It's almost like I become a focal point for a certain collective and a certain kind of intelligence to come through, because I am the one who has to take this all in and kind of make sense of it. So, and I'm just pointing this out because it's something that I've noticed this before, but I'm not sure that I'd ever quite fully framed it for myself as an increase in intelligence. I become more intelligent. And it really is intelligence because it's problem-solving ability. It's not just, I mean, on some level, it's like, it might just be, I know more about the issue, right? Or I've seen it from more different sides because I've taken the time to listen to different people talk about the same thing, and I've heard different opinions about it, right? But when I really begin to deal with that, when I actually start to take that, hey there, Carter. Are you just coming out of the pool and dripping water all over me? Okay, that's how it is then. When I start to actually do that effectively, and I do it, are you like a little vampire here? What's going on?
I have a stuffly nose.
Oh, you do. A stuffly nose. You have a stuffly nose over here. I'm clearly losing my train of thought. This is Claudia, everyone, my niece. He's gonna sit there the whole time while I do this post?
Yeah.
When I do this well, I gain an enormous measure of intelligence. It's really hard to do this. And I've only, because I've only recently started to phrase it as that. It's like a clown piece. Because I've only recently started to frame it as that, I've become more grateful for it recently. And I think, the appreciation of it actually enhances the value of it, or the impact of it, because it's like I am actually taking it in. I'm sort of doing it consciously instead of unconsciously. I'm noticing. I'm getting even more in touch with the differing perspectives that have gone into forming ultimately mine. And it makes me really realize how much we need to do this.
Bye, people.
How much we need to take perspectives on board, and especially, I think the main thing, it's like the luxury or the value. Oh, now I have my daughter. Now I got my own daughter back here. Hello, hi, Nutties. I'm realizing the value of connecting with perspectives that are not mine, And not just intellectually. I'm not just reading an opinion that I disagree with. I'm receiving someone's authentic expression of where they're coming from. And it may, the funny thing is, it's almost like when I do that, I no longer disagree. That's a tricky one, because on some level I do still maybe have an opinion that might diverge, or I might have a thought, a pattern of my own, thinking that takes me in a different direction. But there's something about a truly authentic expression that's really hard to say I disagree with that. It's like I just receive that. And to the extent that I receive not just their authenticity, which is what opens the door, but also the content of their thinking, there is a modification that happens. I have to now modify, even if my like sort of stated position, like in a court of law, I might not change my opinion that much. It might sort of just be a tiny, subtle shift. But the reality is there is a shift. There is something that changes, and there is something that is modified. And I think that's what I'm calling intelligence, or collective intelligence. I'm receiving that subtle modification, the ability to see and hear someone coming from an authentic place that's different than mine. And because of my role in this, I've had this experience recently. I mean, really, this would be what I would do with every experience of my life. But I think especially when we're tasked with representing other people, we have an opportunity and we have a challenge of doing that, of going through this process where it's both, that's how you do the job well, and it's also massively awakening. It can open us up in a profound way to a new way of thinking, a new way of understanding, to more intelligence. So it's like harnessing the collective intelligence. That's what it feels like I'm getting the opportunity to do. And I was doing it before I really understood what I was doing and what to call it. That's why I'm doing this post, just to kind of crystallize this process for myself. I've noticed the effects of it. Now I'm trying to put words to how it's happening and what's happening. So
Hello, everybody.
that's where I'm at. You're dripping water all over me.
Hello, everybody.
That's where I'm at today.
Hello.
All right, I'm about to say goodbye. I appreciate you. Oh, I get
Second.
Hey, be kind.
Second is me, and my name is Claudia, and this, whatever his name is Uncle Robin, and he is the only person who has a poop on his face. And then I'm Claudia's cousin, and
We're devolving.
and Uncle Robin, and I'm with this person that's got Uncle Robin. Robin doesn't like drinking water. And Uncle Robin doesn't like us to be so silly.
Go jump in a lake.
And he doesn't like so much. He's brown, so we're white and brown mixed, and he's tan.
And on that note.
No, we play